Hey there, welcome. Uh, Today I'm going to be talking about the Samson Q9U. It seems like there's not a whole lot of information out there right now about the Q9U. It's a recent product from Samson. It's a USB-C enabled and as well as XLR capable microphone, a dynamic one at that, that's targeted primarily towards streamers and broadcasters, podcasters, DJs. So it's really meant for that crowd. And I kind of wanted to be able to give you some audio samples. Uh, Obviously, you're going to have to deal with my voice. But I wanted to give you some audio samples and be able to toggle through the different EQ settings and then also show you how the off-axis rejection actually functions. So I actually have my iPhone recording separately so you can see what the actuality is versus what this is picking up. So great. Let's kind of get started. So at the moment, I have it in the default configuration with the bass cut off as well as the mid boost off. So completely default, no EQ enabled, nothing like that. In Windows, I have this set to 76, the volume level at 76. That's kind of what worked for me in order to get around a peak of 50%, something to that effect. This was just from Samson's manual. Okay, so let us try switching to bass cut enabled, right? So if I were to do something like Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, you might hear the P and B sounds more boomy inside the microphone. But if I enable the bass cut now and say the same thing, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, right? Then you should hear less of those boomier sounds. And the closer I get, the proximity effect should actually not be as you'll hear less of that body, resonant body in terms of vocal speech. So as I get closer, it's clear, but it is also not deeply resonant in the bass. Okay, so now if I switch over, I'm going to turn the bass cut off. Okay, so the bass is back up, and I'm going to switch to the mid boost setting instead. Okay, so now that I have the mid boost enabled, you can probably hear a bit more upper clarity. If you have a warmer voice, this is especially great to bring some additional clarity in the kind of the frequency ranges of human speech. When you have kind of warmer voices, it can just sound not as it's just more difficult to enunciate or to be able to hear enunciation as well if you're kind of warbly. So this provides additional clarity for those. If you're a female, you may not need the mid boost depending on your speech, and different people have different timbre for their speech. So, but it's otherwise very helpful. This is probably what I would end up using in something like a voiceover or an audiobook if I was doing that kind of work. So now let's enable, in addition to this, the bass boost, or bass cut rather. So bass cut is enabled and mid boost is enabled. So now you're getting this kind of roll off on the bass, and then you're getting a boost in the mids. So at this point, you're getting a lot of clarity from speech, and then you're taking away some of that low end rumble that could otherwise be distracting, right? So as I get closer to the microphone and I speak, or if I speak with a deeper resonant tone, less of those really busy bass frequencies are coming in, that they're getting suppressed, and you're getting a more focused range of human speech, which is exactly what you would want for your audience to hear. So now that I've kind of gone through that, the other thing that I wanted to do, and I'm going to leave it on this setting for the time being, but I wanted to play some music behind the Q9U on my Yamaha SR C20A. It's a sound bar. It has a built-in subwoofer in it, and I just wanted to play some music because I want you to be able to understand the fact that we have good off-axis rejection. So when I'm talking over here, the capsule is picking up less information, and over here as well, same thing. If I were to speak above it or below it, it's just not going to be able to get as much information as opposed to when I'm speaking directly down it. So there's great off-axis rejection. So I've got my soundbar, about 8 inches behind the Q9U right now, and I'm going to be playing music at a relatively loud volume, and you will hear some of it. And like I said, I'm going to leave the bass cut enabled because the subwoofer does it definitely bumps. And I'm using this the Samson Q9U not on a monitor arm, on an arm microphone boom arm or anything. It is on a tabletop, like through the MD5 desktop stand. So you will get better results if you're using something that's a little bit more isolated and can't transfer bass frequencies. But this is kind of what I'm dealing with for the time being. So I'm going to go ahead and play some music, and I'm going to talk over it. And once again, I'm going to show the actuality versus what you're kind of seeing, what your audience could expect. So, all right, here we go. And I had to choose royalty-free music just in case I don't want to get copy strike. Okay, so this is at a pretty comfortable volume for music, but it's not crazy loud, but it's enough for me to probably struggle to speak over if there's a lot of lyrical content, somebody else speaking. So now we're fighting to talk over one another. And I could snap over here. So I'm gonna do this just a few inches. Okay. And over here as well. All right. Now I'm gonna turn up the volume on my soundbar as well. And I'm gonna continue talking. I haven't really moved away from the microphone or changed how loud I'm speaking. So I'm gonna try my best to remain consistent. Okay, so I increased the volume some, and it's at to me a pretty comfortable level. Let me change the song to something else in here. Okay, so change the music again. It's relatively loud. I could try turning it up even further. All right, this is, to me, going to start to get loud. And at this point, I'm probably going to be talking over it, just so I can hear myself talk. But otherwise, you will hear some. It will be much less compared to what I'm hearing, that's for sure. So, and I'll show you the footage. As I'll be showing you the footage as well of what this actually looks like, not using this microphone. All right. Let's stop there. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of the off-axis rejection as well. It's especially useful for those scenarios where you really don't want anything else to be picked up other than your voice. When you want intentional audio, a dynamic microphone, especially one that has off-axis rejection like that, that's unidirectional, because there are, there can be omnidirectional microphones as well. But having a unidirectional one is especially great for podcasters or for DJs, or even for vocal performers who, if you're a singer or something like that, then you really don't want to pick up background noise from, maybe if you're doing a live performance with a band, you don't want something like a condenser mic, which is going to pick up a ton of background information. You want something that is that it has more noise, or I guess isolation, if you will, So that way it's only picking up your voice and not all the things going around you. So that tends to be why many people are picking podcast, you know, for podcasts and such, are picking dynamic microphones. So hopefully this gives you a good sense of what the Q9U is capable of. It's not going to cut, you know, every slice possible out there for, you know, everybody's needs, but in a large sense, I find that it's very competent at what it does. It's a, you know, a very well built microphone. It sounds great in my opinion. I do prefer to have the mid boost on as well as the bass cut on as well. Um, but it could work great for other purposes as well. But primarily, I would leave it to, you know, streamers who are, you know, if you're playing games or you're a vocalist. But if you're trying to record instruments and things like that, there are probably better choices. But this is really a voice centric microphone. And if you're trying to isolate vocals and speech, then I think this is a great pick. So let me know what you think. If you have other questions, then leave a comment. And if you appreciate what I did with this video, give it a like. Thanks. Have a good day.